Lesson 1, Nutrition Basics. In this video, we're going to go through two things. First is the nutrition pyramid, and second is our 3 nutrition rules. So let's take a look at the nutrition pyramid. As you can see, there are a number of layers to the pyramid, and importance is based on the base being the most important and getting less important as we move our way up. So there are 6 different tiers. We have adherence at the bottom, then we have calories, then macronutrients, so our carbohydrates, our fats, our protein, then we have micronutrients, followed by meal timings, and finally supplements. Supplements are often where people start to focus when they are looking at getting in shape, when actually they make very little difference if you don't have the tiers below it in place. During this course and during your time at our gym, we're going to focus primarily on these bottom 3 layers of the pyramid: adherence, calories, and macronutrients. Because if we get these right, we can make some really impressive progress. Alright, so the nutrition rules. Now, we know it's easy to get lost and confused when it comes to nutrition. There's loads of confusing, conflicting information out there, lots of people with different advice, so we like to make it nice and simple. That's what nutrition is all about here. That's what nutrition here is all about, simplicity. There's no fads, no crash diets, no dirty bulks, no weird supplements, and no restrictions. Just a few simple, very effective, flexible guidelines that are easy to put into action, and even easier to adjust to suit your goals, your personal preferences, and your lifestyle. It's important to get these nutrition rules right because, essentially, getting your nutrition right so you can improve your strength, your body composition, your health and your performance can be broken down into these 3 really simple nutrition rules. So, rule number 1, 90% of the time, make your meals or have a variety of single ingredient foods. This is what that looks like, and it means having stuff like steak, sweet potatoes, and peppers. They all have 1 ingredient. So have something like that for dinner instead of a ready meal packed with chemicals, preservatives, and who knows what else. Another way to phrase this could be, just eat real food. And the reason we want to do this is because good quality nutrition gives us energy, it satisfies our hunger better, it improves our health, and there are loads of other benefits. So you want to aim to include lots of good quality, single ingredient foods and not have your diet dominated by junk food and processed stuff. Rule number 2, be flexible 10% of the time. So you should definitely make sure that good quality foods dominate your daily food intake. That's why 90% of the time we want you to stick to single ingredient foods as part of our meals. But the other 10% of the time you can be flexible and pretty much eat whatever you want. So that's what this would look like. It's okay to have donuts, it's okay to have some junk food, and it's okay to just enjoy some of the not so great food that you love. Don't worry about having these things every now and then. Just make sure that A, they don't dominate your diet, and B, when you have them, they fit into your calorie targets for the day. We're going to talk about calories and tracking your food a little bit later, but the reason we want them to fit into your calorie targets is so you don't massively overeat. Because if you overeat, you consume too many calories, you're going to end up gaining unwanted body fat. And we know that to lose body fat, we need to be in a caloric deficit. This means consuming slightly less calories than our body is burning. Then to build muscle, we need to be in a calorie surplus. So that's where we're going to be consuming slightly more calories than our body's burning so we can give our body the building blocks it needs to grow muscle. But within those targets, we can be flexible. We don't have to be on a clean eating diet all of the time. We can have that 10% of flexibility. We're big advocates of this approach because it allows you to enjoy your life and not feel like you're on a strict diet all of the time. It means you can go and have some ice cream when you go to the cinema with your partner, or you can eat some cake at your kid's birthday party. But all this is reliant on rule number 3. Now this is the important one. Rule number 3. Track your food intake and hit your calorie and macro targets every day. So macronutrients are proteins, carbs and fats. Now this is important because if you don't track, you can't possibly know if you're eating too much, too little, or even being consistent at all. And if you don't know that, then realistically, you can't expect to get good long-term results. Like I said, the main reason for tracking is to see if your nutrition targets that have been set by your coach are actually working. And by that I mean, is eating this much food helping you reach your goal of building muscle or losing body fat? To start with, these targets from your coach are going to be an educated estimate. They're a starting point. But when you check in with your coach and get your measurements done, we can see that maybe you need to eat more, maybe you need to eat less, and we can make those adjustments. It's important to try and be as accurate and as consistent as possible, and you can do all this in an app called MyFitnessPal. Tracking your food allows us to monitor what you're eating and make adjustments in increasing or decreasing your calorie intake so your progress never plateaus for too long. So as well as sticking to the number one rule, 90% of the time, make your meals have a variety of single ingredient foods. And rule number 2, be flexible 10% of the time. You're also going to try and stick to rule number 3, which is track your food and hit your calorie target every day. An important note is that you're never going to be spot on to the exact gram or the exact calorie every day, but a good level of accuracy is within 100 to 150 calories. So if your daily target is 2,500 calories, then anywhere between 2,400 and 2,600 calories is really good. You're never going to be spot on to the exact calorie, but being in the right ballpark is going to do the trick. So they are the 3 nutrition rules. We literally can't make it any simpler than that. Now, it's not easy because there are lots of things that go into getting this right. There are lots of habits, a lot of hard work, a lot of consistency, but that is as simple, straightforward as nutrition can be broken down. So just those 3 things. And the reason it's just these 3 is because it's easy to understand, it's straightforward to put into action, and most importantly, they work and get the job done. They get results. And on top of that, and this is a really important part, you won't ever feel like you're dieting because there's flexibility. There's room to make some changes without feeling like you've fallen off the wagon. There's room to enjoy some of the foods that you love that wouldn't be typically be classed as healthy. So it's just those 3 simple nutrition rules as a nice, easy start. Rule number 1, 90% of the time, make your meals a variety of single ingredient foods. Rule number 2, be flexible 10% of the time. Rule number 3, track your food intake and hit your calorie and macro targets every single day. Now there are just a couple of things I want to add. When you start tracking, you'll find it a little bit tricky, so the first thing I want you to focus on is just hitting your calorie targets. Don't worry about macros, so your carbohydrates, your fats and your proteins too much, just hit your calorie target. Then once you've got that nailed, aim for calories and proteins and get those 2 things nailed. Then once you've got calories and proteins nailed, we can then move on to hitting calories, proteins, carbs and fats. If you really do struggle with this and you're finding it tough, or maybe just you're completely new to tracking, A way to make it a little bit easier is to not even worry about hitting specific calorie or macro targets. Just get used to using the app for tracking your food and seeing how much you're eating each day. Just get a feel for it for a week or so. And once you feel comfortable with it, then go into tracking your calorie targets and then your macro goals later on. So like I said, they are 3 nutrition rules. Rule number 1, 90% of the time, make your meals a variety of single ingredient foods. Rule number 2, be flexible 10% of the time. And rule number 3, track your food intake and hit your calorie and macro targets every single day.